the last session before lunch. So James Graham is going to do his session on the journey from SCCM to Intune, and after this will be lunch. And just remember, feedback forms, visit the sponsors at lunch, all of those things, please, really important to us to get this feedback.
Got a clicker.
Clicker's there for you.
Lovely, lovely. Hey everybody, just to let you know that lunch is on hold till I'm finished, so no sneaking off. Got my eyes on all of you, so watch out, all of you lovely, beautiful EUC folks. So this is essentially a sponsored 15-minute session, so it includes some product placement, just to forewarn you. In fact, it's all product placement, so apologies in advance.
Between the white lines.
Sorry?
That's it. You have to be between the white lines.
I have to be between the white lines. What happens if I go over here? Is there a trap door or something? Okay, so essentially this is a quick follow-on session from my session in Manchester, where I did a more broader community session on the general journey from SCCM to Intune. So talking about the customer journey around moving from, I suppose, tenant attach, and then looking at co-management. And some of the challenges around, okay, so how does a customer go fully from SCCM to Intune? And typically what we see, and what I saw during my time at Microsoft as well, is that it's the applications that tends to be the anchor or the weight that keeps customers tied to SCCM. And that really is a great use case for us at Rimo3. So for Rimo3, there are probably 3 key use cases that are relevant to the folks in this room. And one of those, as I mentioned, is SCCM to Intune. So it's that migration of that application intelligence, that technical debt that a customer has built up over the years in Config Manager, and being able to extract that and get it into Intune. And that's a real big, I suppose, lift for many customers, and that's delaying many what we call cloud native rollouts as well. And in addition to that, Windows 11, it's a journey that many customers are on, mainly due to the fact that folks have no choice unless they're willing to put their hand in the pocket for a lovely ESU bill, which I believe is starting to be circulated by Microsoft now as well. And then finally, again, relevant to folks in this room, looking at that on-prem VDI move to cloud VDI, typically with AVD. So those are sort of the 3 main use cases, and of course we have the ongoing application lifecycle as you move past that migration as well. So I am the Rimo3 field CTO. I've been with Rimo3 6 months now. Prior to that, I was Microsoft for 5.5 years, where I worked with financial services customers around helping them understand and get to modern management. And then I spent 3 years then working with the UK partner community to help them build solutions and offers all around things like Windows 365 when that went to market. And of course, how you build a modern cloud-based managed desktop service as well. And I don't know if many folks have had time to catch up on the Ignite sessions last week, but a key one for me was the Steve Dispenza session on Intune, where he made the announcement. It was quite subtle actually, and it was about 10 minutes into his session, where he stated that the time is now for customers to move to cloud native management. So what does cloud native mean? Essentially, the words from his mouth were Windows devices managed exclusively by Intune, right? So that is that pivot away from co-management, where many customers are stuck in this sort of co-management island. And Brad Anderson said, actually about 4 years ago, that co-management was a destination that folks could stay at. You know, I think of it as more like it's like Bognor Regis or something like that. It's, you know, it's a destination, but it's not necessarily a pleasant destination to be at in the long term. Although I live right next to Bognor Regis, so you know, it's not all that bad. So apologies for anyone that lives in Bognor Regis. Any Bognor Regis folks in the house today? I apologise to you, sir. Got lovely Butlins there. So anyway, So what I want to talk about is the Rimo3 platform itself. So what we offer, just check time. So essentially the Rimo3 platform, we deploy to customers Azure subscription. So as part of our deployment process, we will deploy a new resource group, and within that resource group, we will deploy a VNet, and on that VNet, we'll host a persistent virtual machine, and then that provides the orchestration ability to automate the provisioning of additional virtual machines that do some tasks, which I'll walk through in this process flow. In addition to that, we also provision a storage account, which can host converted applications. And so I just want to just set that context. So when I walk through this, you can sort of visualize that architecture in your head. Because what that VNet allows us to do, because we're deploying in your Azure subscription, it allows us to connect to stuff, right? So we could connect to your SCCM environment, for example. We could domain join those VMs if we want to, so we could provide line of sight to a domain controller. In addition, we can also leverage Graph API to connect to your Intune tenant as well. So what that does is that enables that flow from SCCM all the way through to your Intune tenant for us to be able to create those application objects within Intune for you then to assign to users and devices. So with each journey, you must have a start. So our journey starts with the import of your application. So it's identifying the source of your applications, that source of truth. Our ideal scenario for us is Config Manager as that source of truth, because, as I said, that enables us to connect directly, and we use some clever WMI scripting to be able to install those applications directly from source. So one, we're able to pull in the metadata from Config Manager, but we're also able to point to the source media as well. So essentially, we can just grab those applications as and when we need them. So we're not doing anything funny around production environment by deploying the Config Manager client, so these don't become we don't need to manage anything. In addition to SCCM, we can also pull in applications manually or pull in from other repositories. We have API as well if we want to. And in terms of the format of those applications, I like to think we're pretty agnostic. As long as that application installs silently, unattended, we can onboard it. We just need to understand the install command, essentially. So whether that's PowerShell deployment toolkit, could be a script itself, MSI, AppV, setup.exe, all supported. So once we understand where we're getting the applications from, the next step in that journey is we need to discover those applications. So this is great for many customers because, as I said at the start, in SCCM, we've built up technical debts over the years, and we could have all sorts of crap in Config Manager. So it's always good to have that baseline understanding of everything that we have out there. So what we essentially do is, in the back end, we provision a virtual machine. And what we're able to do, we're able to provision that virtual machine with your current image. So we have a choice whether we choose Azure Marketplace Gallery image, or ideally, if you've got a custom image, we can pull that because, again, we're deployed in your Azure subscription. We just need you to add it to your image gallery in Azure, and we can pull the Azure Resource ID, and we can provision that virtual machine with that customized image that you have. And why is that important? Well, for those that use custom image, you'll know why it's important, right? Because that gives us contextual relevance to your environment. You'll have your core applications built into your image. You'll have your core prerequisites baked into your image. So then when we go ahead and we do discovery, which discovery is, we go ahead and we install that application on that VM. So again, all automated, unattended. We will run the install command. We will install the application on that virtual machine. And what we're able to do then with our proprietary software is essentially do a Delta OS capture. So essentially, we capture everything that application lays down during that install process. So that gives us a nice picture of, okay, what are the shortcuts that are deployed? What are the services that get deployed? And then we combine that with the app metadata that we pull either from the package itself or from your SCCM data as well. So that gives us a lovely picture of what gets laid down when that application installs. So that's one half of the picture. So then, right, we understand how it installs and what's it made of. And then what we want to do is understand how it runs in your current environment. So what we do next is we provision another VM. Again, we provision that with your customized image. And then we will go ahead and we will run any shortcuts that we've discovered during that discovery process, just to understand, okay, so this shortcut runs and then this child process spins up. If there's a dialog box that pops up, we'll click on that as well. So again, all fully unattended and automated. And what that does is that gives us an understanding how the application runs in your current environment. So what we're able to do with this sort of automated onboarding pipeline is we're able to suck in all of that application intelligence, understand how the apps install and how they run, and that gives us that fantastic baseline to understand the next step in that journey, and that is where you're going, right? And from here, this is where we talked about earlier, those use cases. Are you looking at AVD? Are you looking at Windows 11? Are you looking at Windows Server OS? To be honest, we're a platform, we're agnostic. We're not dictating the journey of your applications. What we're doing, we're enabling you to let applications decide where they want their home to be, right? Is it running nicely on Win 11? Is it Windows 11 multi-session? And for multi-session scenarios, we will simulate that environment by running shortcuts with multiple user sessions concurrently to help you understand, is that application viable for a multi-session environment? So again, we allow you to provide us with that customized desired state image. So again, could be future version of Windows 11, could be a customized image, could be Azure Marketplace vanilla image, entirely up to you. You have the flexibility in the platform to determine what those apps are tested against. But then if you think about this from an ongoing perspective, from an application lifecycle management perspective, there is change in our Windows image all the time, right? Whether that's monthly cumulative updates, feature updates, configuration changes, application updates. So what we enable you with this platform as well, we've onboarded your apps, right? They're there in the platform. So at any point in time, you can just change this desired state image and you can run all of those apps through that process again. So suddenly you're able to run a quick validation of all your applications against any change you make in an environment. You have that potential and that freedom to do that. But in addition, we're also seeing many customers on this migration journey as well. And that migration journey could be looking at different packaging formats. It could be this SCCM to Intune journey that I talked about as well. So for where we're looking at containerized applications, so MSIX conversion, app vols capture, we have FlexApp 1 support coming in the near future as well. What we're able to do is enable automated conversion, capture of those package formats as well. So we're able to give you that insight into, hey, am I going to be successful with MSIX? Will I get good conversion rates? Do I have an alternative if I don't have that? So we provide that automation ability, and we're able to provide evidence as to why it failed or passed for you to be able to review. And that's the key thing with any of our testing and any of our conversions, any process that we run through with your applications, we provide visibility. So we provide detailed log files of all the actions that take place. We provide live video and recorded video of the desktop experience as well. We provide screenshots, and we also do performance captures as well. So we will measure performance against CPU, disk, RAM, and network. So therefore you can compare against your baseline, against the desired state as well, to understand if there are any anomalous fluctuations in performance on an application. So when we do the modernization of the package, just because it may convert successfully or capture successfully doesn't necessarily mean it would run in its new state. So therefore we do one final test of the application to confirm it's all working. And then you have choices around exporting those applications. So we have integration with Nerdio, Manager for Enterprise. So if Nerdio are managing your AVD deployment environment, you're able to export the MSIX applications into Nerdio for app attach. And we also do that export directly into Intune as well. So you can export apps directly. So MSIXs can go straight to Intune. Or if you're not looking at MSIX, we can just take those existing package formats and put them in a .intune win wrapper and import those directly into your Intune tenant with all of the metadata populated as well through Graph API. and then you can go ahead and assign those to users or devices. And essentially, that is our end-to-end process. So if you want to learn more, want to see a demo, please come along to the booth, and I can give you a bit more detail into that. If you're looking at going to market, we do have a couple of options of that. I'm going to finish in 10 seconds. So we have some engagements around doing pilots. So we have a freemium and a premium version as well. So for those customers here looking at Windows 11, Intune or AVD, we have a freemium option where we can take a handful of your apps over a couple of week engagement, and for zero risk on your side, we can help you understand, get you familiar with the platform, help you understand the journey that your applications want to take you on and your workspace on. So we have that for both cloud endpoints, which is Win11, Win365, Intune, and we also have one for AVD, which is looking at those multi-session MSIX, app vaults, containerized options as well. A deep breath. I'm going to stop there because I know everyone's hungry and I'm hungry as well, but thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, James.
Cheers, Nigel.